Hello and welcome everyone. I had another 5-0 with Jeskai, and as promised I record all of my 5-0s, so I recorded this one as well. Let's quickly dive into the list. I'm not going to go into too much detail because when you compare this to my previous video, I really haven't changed all that much. What I really wanted to do is play Pyroblasts again, so I've mainly done some changes in the sideboard. The main board is pretty stock, like you have all the blue stuff here at the left hand side. In the middle here we have the win conditions. Yes, of course I realize that technically Back to Basics, Narset, Teferi, etc. are not win conditions, but yeah, they really are. Against a certain matchup, Back to Basics is your win condition. Against a lot of matchups, Tamio Ult is your win condition, so you'll have the good stuff here. And then this is just the removal suite. I've gone up to 2 Back to Basics again recently. That's mainly because Eldrazi is seeing an uptick, and we also see the Mystic Forge deck popping up everywhere, and Back to Basics is the best thing that you can do against those, and I simply cut the Singleton Spell Pierce to do that. Then let's go to the sideboard. Not too many changes really. What I've done is I'm now still playing 4 graveyard pieces. That's the least amount of cards you can play, I think, currently. I also found room in the sideboard now to play some more other stuff, so I still have double Harbinger and 1 Back to Basics and 4 Consigns. That's just a sign of the times right now. You need to beat Mystic Forge and you need to beat Eldrazi, and Cloudburst, that's what you need. I've gone up to double Pyroblasts, which is fine. It's not excellent or anything right now. I think Pyroblast is probably the weakest it's been in a very, very long while. Don't get me wrong, cards are always good, but it's not essential. And a card that I have been liking is this one, Damping Matrix. I've been playing a lot in paper lately, and I've been seeing a huge amount of Nado decks in paper. You don't see it as much in online play, because, well, of course, online it's miserable, so much clicking, etc. And Damping Matrix just shuts down Nado. Resolve this, you win the game. It's really that easy. And that's the deck. I already spoiled that I had a 5-0, so let's just see what the games have brought. Before we get started, I want to thank MTG for sponsoring the video. If you live in Europe and you buy cards on Card Market, check out their store. They have a huge selection and offer excellent prices. I want to start by saying this first game, I was actually watching a movie while I was playing, and it was obvious because I really tried to lose that game. But we did end up winning. But I did some huge mistakes, which is always interesting to watch as well. And then for the rest I will just discuss during the game. I just wanted to point that out, that I realize I did make a lot of mistakes in this league, and I will go over them soon, of course. Now generally I know that Tony Scaponi is always playing something degenerate, so if you look at my opening hand, depending on what deck I was up against, and like if I knew that I was playing against a Delver deck, I would definitely mulligan this, because one Wasteland and I'm just out of the game. But I know that since Tony was on is always playing degenerate decks, that this hand's perfect because I have double Force Wills, so I felt really good keeping here, and we shall see what happened. Now, of course, I still don't know what they are playing, of course, and then they start by playing Ancient Tombs into Grim Monoliths. And this is I'm gonna pause here for a minute. So I'm playing against Mystic Forge. Generally, Mystic Forge, when I'm recording this, Mystic Forge has just one Eternal Weekend in the USA, and there were 4 Mystic Forge decks in the top deck, in the top 8. So this deck, like Jeskai Control, is insanely well positioned against Mystic Forge. If you are still in doubt about playing the deck, this is the time to do so. I think I watched the matchup matrix for North America Eternal Weekend, and like Jeskai had the lowest win rates, one of the lowest in general, but against Mystic Forge specifically, it was like 80% win rate or something like that. So I already know my opponent has on a mulligan to 5. So I decide, should I counter this Grim Monolith or not? And if I look at my hand, I felt I was fine keeping this, so I just leave the Teferi on top, and I realize that I'm just going to counter 1 or 2 things and we are good. I do want to start with the Archive specifically because I wanted to get rid of some number of artifacts, and I wanted to be able to cast Wrath of the Skies as soon as possible. So Mystic Forge is really the only thing that I'm afraid of here. They have 1 card left in hand. Generally, what you need to do against Mystic Forge is counter 1 or 2 cards and you're fine. It's really that easy. Okay, so I just want to go for this Wrath of the Skies, just chill for a while. I can get rid of whatever they get with this Urza Saga because I have Wrath of the Skies, so I'm feeling fine. So here I'm just going to cycle away, get Tundra, and there's an interesting decision here to be made, because I could either wait 1 more turn to be able to cast Wrath of the Skies for X's2, or I can just get rid of the Saga now and prevent them from actually finding something. And I opt to do do the second, because at this point they have one card in hand. Like, what am I afraid of? If they do have a completely nutty card, I can still just get rid of it with Force Will. And I still have Brainstorms, so I feel I'm very favored here. I just slam down 4th Earlingus here because I think at this stage of the game, what I just want to do is I want to draw cards, especially since I know that I have Back to Basics coming. I just want them to use Urza Saga. I also put the planes on top so I could base them back to basics here. And if they want to make a construct, I'm fine with that. I will not slam in, of course, because I expect that they will probably make one construct. And I really do not want them to take over the monarchy. So that was the idea here. I just want them to spend all their mana. And I just want them to try and, well, tap out and then just win the game. So, as I just said, Back to Basics, really good against Mystic Forge, and you will see us at this point winning the game. So they will just tap out to play the Kozilek's command as they should, but I, of course, am able to counter that and take over the game from there. So that's what we shall see happen here. They will just tap out, they will cast Kozilek, I will just pitch my Force Will, and we win the game. So no mistakes made here. That was a pretty clean game. Of course, they already mulliganed to 5. So again, the winning condition here is not 4th Earlingus. Drawing the 1 card each turn is nice, but Back to Basics is the card that wins you the game, not 4th Earlingus. So that was pretty smooth. Let's go to the next one. So against Mystic Forge, sideboarding is relatively straightforward. Now I do want to point out that the Damping Matrix, I did bring it in, but don't expect too much for this, because Damping Matrix does not stop people tapping artifacts for mana. So that's something to be aware of. Now, of course, they do play the Wandering as win conditions, etc. So it's still a good card. I'm just saying that don't expect too much from this and don't try and rely too much on the card. But we have so many things against them. We have the land hates like Harbingers. We have Back to Basics. We have 4 Consigned to Memories. Generally, we are heavily favored in this matchup, even more so after sideboarding, probably. You have so many bad cards to take out, like the white cards, they suck. Side the Swords, sure, they have like 4 Flesh Rakers, but that's about it. And you bring in Consigned, so same thing. Teferi, not great. It's not bad, but not very good. I even take out 1/4 Earlingus. As I said, my win condition in the matchup is just Back to Basics and Harbinger, so you can very easily just cut one. So yeah, very straightforward sideboarding, and I hope you're ready because I really tried my best to lose this game, and we still ended up winning. So let's just dive in and see what we did. Generally, though, my hand's great. If you have a hand with Back to Basics and 1 number of counter magic, you should be good. It's really that easy. So, okay, I have a bunch of Brainstorms here. That's excellent. Best thing that you can have is Back to Basics and a Consigned to Memory. I don't think I've ever lost a game where I had the combination of both Consigned to Memory and a Back to Basics. It's that great. Okay, so more land hate, not what I want here. So Glaring Flesh Raker for them is definitely one of the best starts that they can have. But I'm just going to cycle away these bad cards here. Draw. Force Will is nice, so I should be good. I think if I can just slam down Harbinger or Back to Basics soon, we should be good, depending on what they're going to try and do. So, of course, I will counter that, get rid of a Brainstorm. I have another one, so I'm okay here. I'm just going to let them do their thing. They slam in. And now at this point, I'm just going to slam down one of these land hate pieces. I was debating what I should do. Should I play the Harbinger or should I play the Back to Basics? And I do end up playing the Back to Basics first because I just want to win on the spot. Now, they do have the Wise Escape. That's unfortunate. They have the sideboard card, but I still have Harbinger, so I'm okay. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to play the Harbinger, and now we're off to the races. I already have Prismatic Endings, so I can get rid of this Glaring Flesh Raker, and we should be good. Don't really care about Defense Grid, I'm not going to fight over that. I want to have my Brainstorm, so I'm okay. So currently, at this point, haven't made any mistakes yet, so I just want to point that out. We shall try and get rid of this Flesh Raker first, and now I'm feeling really good. We have Back to Basics too, and we have this Brainstorm. If I need to, I can kill this Wise Escape after they spend some mana and then play the Back to Basics. That was the idea, and here they play... This is an interesting one to show you. So they actually play the Mishra's Research deck, so they can sack and then they can play some cards that they have put on in the deck. So I really think that's a cool addition, but at this point they have 0 cards, right? So already I have full control. We should be good if I do not screw this up. So you can see me here, Wrath of the Skies, and I'm just gonna Wrath of the Skies here for 2. No mistakes yet. This was a very clean play. That was very good to do. And I want to counter the Kozilek's command, and if I do that, we should be good. Okay, so they are going to spend some mana here. They have the option to use the Basalt Monolith to get some colorless mana, and they will spend the mana to cast Kozilek's Command. Of course, we can't have that now, can we? Because I really want to keep this Harbinger. They untap it. But at this point, I'm like, yeah, this is good looking good, especially since I've consigned to memory. As I said before, I can only lose here if I really screw up badly. I hope you get to see why this matchup is so good, especially off the sideboard. We have the combination of being able to counter everything that they do very favorably, and we still have the option to also get rid of their lands. So I'm just going to replicate this because why shouldn't I? Of course, Wandering is a card you are very afraid of. I also have the back to basics, so I should have this covered, right? Well, beware, beware. Okay, so we're just going to attack a couple of turns. They're just going to try and get something to resolve. They have the Wastecape Battle Mage, that's really good for them, but they are now tapped out with everything. So I'm just going to get a land here. I have back to basics, another one, so enough stuff to do. The idea here is to just kill that. I mean, I already have back to basics, so I don't need another one. They have the Urza Saga here, but that's fine. I'm going to ponder, and I'm going to play my MTGO. That's going to be the win condition here. They have another Urza Saga, so good on them. And play the Narset, see what we have. Consigned to memory, excellent stuff, all good. As long as they don't get to make tokens with this Urza Saga, I am very happy indeed. So here I just crack a clue, find Force Negation. Not bad, not bad. So we have these triggers. They generate 1 colorless mana. They get Manifold Key for the Basalt Monolith. Excellent, so they have some stuff to do. I do have Force Negation though, so I'm like, okay. As long as it's not a threat, I'm good. I already have back the basics, so I can safely counter the Mystic Forge, and they can now make a token. Unfortunate, we have to get rid of that, but we have enough removal spells to get rid of what they're going to try and do. So pop that one, pop that one. I choose the key here because I just don't want them to generate mana off of this Basalt Monolith. Okay, so I'm going to consign to memory the Urza Saga trigger, so they basically have nothing going on. Full control, and that's Saga number 3, so the odds of them finding another one are low. At this point, I don't even want to play the Damping Matrix, because I actually shut down my own clue tokens if I do that, and it doesn't shut down anything that they have. So I'm just going to draw a couple of cards here. I'm going to flip my MTGO. I'm just going to get rid of, what did I do here? Okay, so here we start screwing up, because I actually remember that Basalt Monolith converted mana cost is 3, at least in my head it was 3. I'm sorry, in my head it was 2, because I actually thought this was Grim Monolith. As you can see, this is the point where I was watching the movie and I started beginning to play very badly. And I didn't even realize, like, why is the Monolith still there? Wasn't that converted mana cost 2? So I just threw away my Prismatic Ending. And I also draw Wrath of the Skies, and check out what I'm going to do now. So I'm going to just Wrath, because I want to get rid of this Urza Saga, and guess what I do? I do X3 and I actually destroy my own back to basics. Oh. This is so bad. This is so bad. And I'm like, yeah, this is probably where I lose the game. And if I would have lost here, I'm not going to lie, I would have 100% deserved to lose. Now, luckily, our deck is so powerful that we actually are able to wiggle through what they're going to try and do. Okay, so you can see them going through the motions. They're going to play these baubles, which does nothing for them because I have Narset. So I go, sure, they can draw cards, but I'm all good. Okay, so I'm just going to plus. I want to play the Damping Matrix now. So the reason for me to play the Damping Matrix now is I want to shut down baubles. I just want them to not draw cards. That's basically the idea. I just do not want them to be able to really make me pay for my fuck up where I destroyed my own back to basics. So they still need to draw cards, so we have another Urza Saga, that's number 4. Okay, so be it, nothing I can do about it. Now, we got to untap with our Force of Will, so I'm feeling fine. What I need to do is I need to brainstorm, and I just need to find my win condition or a land hate spell, and we're still good, which we do find. Lovely, so I'm going to plus here. I want to do that again. Play the Harbinger, and now I'm like, okay, we stabilized again. This never should have happened, and I just didn't destroy my own back to basics, so I'm really making myself work for this. And I also immediately quit watching the movie after I made the horrible play that I did, because I'm like, man, this is just embarrassing. I can't do that again. Anyway, I'm just gonna try and win with the Tamio ult and slam in a couple of times, and I'm like, chill. We got this. We got this. We should be in full control if I don't screw up again, of course. So I'm just slamming in. and they just have a bunch of lands. I mean, that's what the deck is, right? The opponent's deck is all lands, and then they're just haymakers. As I said, if you get through the first 2 or 3 spells that they play, you are so heavily favored. It's not even close. Okay, so I'm drawing a lot of lands, but I'm all good. As long as they don't have if they don't resolve a spell here, I'm good, because I'm going to draw the rest of my deck. And as you have seen, I haven't missed that 4th Elingus ever. My win conditions are my land hate spells. So we're going to deal some damage, just 2 more damage turns, and then we win the game. Tony's turn, they're going to try and resolve a spell. The Flesh Raker, we can't have that, of course. So they can actually win they can win the game through all my hate with the Flesh Raker. They just resolve a spell. Okay, here they are going to try and exile the Harbinger, which is not something that I want. So I'm just going to counter that. And there we go. And I win the game. Nice. So as I said before, I tried my best to lose here, but we still won. Matchup's really, really good for us. A lot needs to go wrong if you actually want to lose this. But it's very important to analyze your hands correctly. Generally, what you want to do is you want to look at Mystic Forge as a combo deck. I mean, it's called Mystic Forge Combo, right? So play it against a combo deck. You need to have at least a piece of land hate and or consign to memory. Best thing you can have is 1 consign, 1 piece of land hate, and you cannot lose. It's that easy. Okay, let's go to the next round. Opening hand here, really good, but of course you need mana to play the game, so that's an easy mulligan. This is fine, nothing more. Yeah, that's about it. I really love Back to Basics though. It's just the best win condition that we can have in the deck, but looks like we are playing against White Initiative, which is an awful matchup. So I actually had to read this one, so I'm going to pop this one on screen because I didn't know what this one did. So at the beginning of your upkeep, each player draws, and when an opponent draws, that player loses 1 life. I like drawing cards, so I was like, okay, not the end of the world. We shall see if I can wiggle through this here. Force Will is nice. The only thing I'm afraid of now is Cavern of Souls, of course. If they do have the Cavern, that's going to be scary for me. They have a Petal here, they're going to slam in. I'm like, yeah, you can attack every single turn. But then they play the Cavern of Souls, and it's game. White Initiative is one hell of a matchup. It's really difficult before sideboarding. Now, we do have consigned to memories now, so being able to like stifle the trigger way they actually get the Undercity is very, very important. I brainstorm here, but you can just see me conceding. So consigned to memory, bring it in against Initiative if you do face it. But the fact that we won against this deck is really cool because I think it's one of the more difficult matchups. So what are we bringing in? You can see I have 0 consigned to memories left in the sideboard. I did bring in 1 Back to Basics. They have a lot of non-basics that you can actually target. Now for the rest, there's not that much that I really like against them. That's pretty much about it. So I took out 1 Set. I was taking out 2 Prismatic Endings because the creatures are usually a high toughness, high power level, converted mana cost, and Force Engagements aren't that great. So I was happy with this. Look at the opening hand. Really good here to consign to memory. Excellent. If you can just consign to memory the Initiative trigger once, you should be really, really favored because that's generally what they're going to try and do against you, resolve that stuff. So happy to be able to do that. So they have the Meadow, they play Petal, they play Unlicensed Hearse, which is very interesting. I really don't understand why people bring in Graveyard Hate against Jeskai, because it sucks. So maybe someone can help me out. Let me know in chat why they would do this, because I thought it was very, very bad. I do not care at all. So here we have Annoying Peacekeeper, and they name Swords to Plowshares. I'm like, yeah, whatever, I can still cast this. So it's interesting to me that they didn't name Back to Basics, because they obviously saw it in my hand, so they didn't care about that. I thought that was an interesting choice. So, yeah, I don't know. Help me out. I didn't see it. Why would you not name the Back to Basics? Because I just, especially since they had 0 basics in their hand. At least that's how it seemed to me at this point, so I don't know. So they are following up at other lands, but if they're going to try and do this, I mean, I can just Swords the Peacekeeper now, so what's going on here? Anyway, they are just going to get rid of Teferi. I do not care, so I'm just going to get rid of that. just chill. I can Swords the Hearse at any given point if I want to. We have MTGO, which is something that I really want to flip immediately, and they just concede. So, I don't know, it feels to me like they should have named Back to Basics. I think that was wrong because I was able to take full control of the game going from there. But let's go to the next one. The opening hand here, pretty good. Any combination of MTGO and Brainstorm in the opening hand is just like, it's your combo, right? We have a combo now too, which costs, well, generally 1 mana, and that's nice. They do have Cavernous Souls, very scary. It's probably the card that I'm most afraid of coming from this deck. So, yeah, scary stuff, but I'm still just going to play MTGO, because if they want to take the Monarchy, etc., etc., I'm probably able to win through that if I get to draw half of my deck. So that's always good. Then Enforcer Will, and this is what I mean with you know, it being very, very dangerous to have MTGO. They wanted me to really not be able to get rid or prevent them getting rid of the MTGO because they even named Enforcer Will. So I was okay with this currently. If they want to try and beat me like that, I felt like I had a good situation here. I'm just gonna Swords. As long as they don't have the initiative too soon, I can get rid of some stuff. I should be able to have full control, so I just shuffle. And this is an interesting choice, right? So they actually play the Lotus Petal, and I decide to Force Will the Lotus Petal. That shows you how afraid I was. They must have something in their hand. I just do not want them to do anything right now. So I just Force Will a Lotus Petal to ensure that they do not have enough mana to play the card that they have in their hand. I had a lot of stuff going on, I had a lot of removal spells, so again, I just want them to not get the initiative. Okay, the basic is in there. We already saw how powerful it was. I was really hoping that they would just tap out, play a threat that they have in the hand, like this one exactly. It's okay, that's fine. And now I'm just going to resolve Back to Basics and win from there. That was the idea. Lo and behold, there we have the Back to Basics. They tapped out with their stuff, and now I'm like, yeah, we're cooking, this is all good. So I'm just going to chill. I can start casting this Swords to Plowshares soon. They have a Crow Mox, they need more mana. And here you can see them slamming down the Seasoned Dungeoneer. But I'm like, this is possibly just fine for me, because sure, they do have the initiative now, but they also only have 2 mana. So we should be able to win through this here if we play this correctly. Okay, you're going to Swords that, I'm going to get rid of that. I do not want them to have more mana, so we can chill, you know, let's see what they find with the Undercity. So I just want to take away the Undercity from them, that's the idea. So consign to memory, going to put it in the graveyard, that's not what the game is about. I mean, this is already in play, so I don't need to prevent that from happening. I just want to find a way to get the Undercity off of them. So I'm digging, Brainstorm, and we find 4 Thirlingers. Good game, it's really that easy, because I'm never going to give away this initiative trigger anymore. Okay, get an island. So I also play the island, so I can consign to memory if they want to take away the initiative from me, but they just concede. So that was a pretty cool game. We saw how powerful Back to Basics was. I think it is a very, very powerful card against pretty much everything right now in the meta, except frog decks. It's still good, but not excellent or anything like that. So that was pretty cool. Let's go to the next round. If I remember correctly, this was a very cool game, very grindy game. Delta is always someone who is on top of the charts when you look at the trophies race. So of course, a very good player. I know they usually play lands, so this was I have Back to Basics, so that's a good hand. So I decided to just keep here. They play Vexing Bauble of Caracas. Vexing Bauble, card is nuts. Possibly we are going to see it banned. But luckily for Jeskai, we do have Prismatic Ending that can get rid of the Vexing Bauble, and I really wanted to have Force Wills. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to counter to get rid of the Sphere of Resistance. Reasoning is I just want to resolve Back to Basics and win. So I'm going to counter. I hope that they tap out here so I can counter again. That's something that didn't happen. But okay, I'm happy. I can still play the Back to Basics. And as I said, that's what you need to win against this deck. So a bit afraid of crop rotation, so we shall see what they do. They play Saga. That's nice. So that means they have to tap out. I'm happy with that. I will find removal spells for these constructs. So this is okay. They're going to slam in. Try and get the races on. But as long as Back to Basics stays on the battlefield, I'm not unhappy. I think we are very favored now. Prismatic Ending, lovely, that's what I wanted. So, just going to get rid of this Mox Diamond. I don't even care about the construct. We will be able to get rid of that. So I'm going to brainstorm. I really wanted to be able to counter the crop rotation. Fortunately, that was not an option. So you can see what they're trying to do. They're just going to try and win through these Urza Sagas. So I'm going to dig for my Wrath of the Skies. That's it. Didn't find Wrath, but I did find another Wrath, Supreme Verdict. So I'm like, yeah, that's what I needed. Cool. So let's see what they do. They do have, at this situation, they did have a way to get rid of Back to Basics. And funny thing, because I actually do get a land, and I just shuffled and put Supreme Verdict back on top. Okay, cool. So I'm just going to say fine. Them getting rid of Back to Basics wasn't that big of a deal, especially with them not playing as many lands. So I'm like, this is okay. In fact, this now means that I can play, I can now actually use this double white mana. They do get rid of it, but still fine. They have used everything now, so I'm like, okay, I think we've got this under control. I'm going to brainstorm. I wanted to draw a land here naturally, but we failed to do that, so I may have to use this Yorion a bit later. Now, of course, with them having an Urza Saga, I wanted to be able to Supreme Verdict when they had used all of the possibilities that they had with the Saga to make tokens, because they can do a bit of damage to me. It doesn't matter. If I'm able to sweep the board here, I think we should be good. Okay, so they're going to Wasteland me. That's what I was kind of expecting. So I'm just going to let that happen. Ghost Quarter is not okay. In response, I'm going to Island Cycle. And I'm going to say yes. Reasoning is I want to be able to Supreme Verdict. So in response to that, I can just wipe the board. Really good play by us here, waiting until them trying to get us off of the mana. But they are drawing so many Urza Sagas, it's disgusting. I think this is Urza Saga number 4. No, number 3. So lots of Urza Sagas. Well, probably the only thing I'm afraid of at this point. So I'm going to dig. I'm going to be digging for my Wrath of the Skies. That would be an excellent draw. But they're just going to make some tokens. I was thinking about fetching here in response to the Pithing Needle, but then I thought, like, even if they name Flooded Strand with the Pithing Needle, it's irrelevant because I have Prismatic Ending, so I'm like, yeah, whatever, doesn't really matter. Okay, so they're going to tap my lands, sure, that's all fine. I just need to find removal spells. Okay, they're going to get Ancient Tomb, so slam in. Ancient Tomb is interesting, I think. Let's see. That probably means that they do indeed have all the sagas. 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah, 4 Urza Saga. So they had them all. Otherwise, they definitely would have gotten another Urza Saga. So naturally drawn all the sagas. Scary stuff for me. Okay, gonna play this Narset, see what we find. As long as they don't have another artifact, we should be good. So I need to be able to untap here. Keep in mind, I cannot use the Flooded Strand because they have Pithing Needle. So here they're going to Loam, get another Saga. That's scary. They attacked me, not an Narset. They tap, so they just want me to not find my white mana source, which makes sense. Swords is really good because now what I can do is I can play MTGO, block the construct for 1 turn, and then I can Swords in response to them tapping my planes when they do that with the port. That was what I was expecting. Now, of course, they do have another one incoming, so it's... I'm really trying all I can, but these Urza Sagas are going to be very, very scary. This is another matchup where after sideboarding, it becomes a lot better for us. Okay, so they're going to Ghost Quarter. I'm going to say fine, so I don't have any white mana left in my deck. So it's time to scoop them up. Okay, but I do end up drawing here. I find another land, and we lose. Sad. Let's go to sideboard. Not that much that you need against lands. So what we want is we want to have surgicals and vacuums to get rid of the life from the loams, and you bring in your land hate. That's pretty much it. And then you take out some number of removal spells. Don't particularly like Supreme Verdicts, and Prismatic Endings are okay, but nothing more. You could also sometimes I take out some number of swords, like I do a 2/2 split. But I did see them play the green creature. Name escapes me for a second, but that's why I wanted to have swords. I thought that was better in this specific matchup. Generally, you just want to have Wrath of the Skies, really. Okay, let's watch the opening hand. So that was a very bad hand. This is a okay hand. Not great, but it's I'm not going to mulligan to 5. Might as well just concede if I do that. And hand's not bad, so I start with Meticulous Archive. Teferi, always good against lands. So I really like that. Savannah, they're going to play Exploration. Exploration, really not that big of a deal for us specifically. They kept in Ghost Vacuum. Again, I really don't like it when people keep that in against me. Or, well, technically I should say that I really do like it because I just don't think the card is good against us. But people seem to like it, so okay. Saga. What I'm going to do is I want to bounce that with Teferi next turn. And this is the card I was talking about. So I'm going to counter that one. I just do not want them to generate value. And as I said, imagine if I had the ability to counter Exploration here. Would that be worth it? Arguably, I would say no. Because once they've just dumped the cards on the board, it really doesn't do all that much. Unless they have like Loam, but we can get rid of that. Okay, so let's play the Teferi. I'm going to bounce Saga, draw. I'm going to exile in response, but that's fine. Okay, so let's see what comes up. There's a Saga here, so they've basically done nothing. Life from the Loam is something that I'm afraid of. Want to get rid of that as soon as possible, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to play the MTGO, and that will slowly but certainly take over the game. I just want to find a way to get rid of this Loam. Currently, it doesn't have that much going for them, so that's good. They bounce MTGO immediately, so here I'm like hoping to draw Brainstorm, stuff like that. But this is really good, you know, being able to surgical away the life from the Loam is excellent. So I wanted to wait. Oh yeah, let's pause for a second. So why didn't I do the surgical immediately? I mean, it's obvious, right? They had the Ghost Vacuum. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to do this end of turn where if they would Ghost Vacuum, then in response I surgical. Because I imagine if I didn't do it like this, if I would surgical, they can in response just Ghost Vacuum the life from the Loam in their own graveyard. And that would be awful for me because then they have life from the Loams left. Does that make sense? So this was a good heads up play by us. Okay, so we do get rid of the Loams, and now I'm like, yeah, we only have one Endurance in hand, and now that I know about it, it doesn't do all that much. So we should be good, especially since now that I have Teferi, and I can bounce a Construct Open if I want to. So I'm going to here play the Volcanic Island. I want to be able to get the Monarchy. I also know that they don't have double green, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Monarchy. They can only use a maze on one of them and block the other one. So they're going to do like this. Okay, so take the Monarchy. Going to draw. They're going to take it away. Nice. So I gave them the interesting decision of should they attack the Ferry now or should they attack me? They decide to attack me. Excellent. Normally, you know, I know that they have Endurance in hand, so that's a card that I'm going to be able to Force the Will, and then I can double attack with this. So I realized that I had the option to get rid of Endurance and then bounce this Construct and take the Monarchy, and we were never going to lose that game from there. If they had attacked the Ferry, then I would have just not attacked with my stuff, and I would have been able to prevent them from taking the Monarchy for 3 turns, which is also a way to win the game. I hope that makes sense. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to get rid of Endurance. No need to go the Force Negation because I've gotten rid of Flight from the Loams and all good stuff. If they want to draw once, that's fine, especially since I have Teferi. Now we find Swords to Plowshares, excellent. That means I don't even need to worry about stuff that they can do to Teferi, or if they want to take back the Monarchy. I can very easily Swords the Construct token, and I'm just going to generate so much card advantage that I'm never going to lose this game ever again. Okay, they're going to try and do some stuff with the Ghost Vacuum, sure. Tap a land, okay. So they untap, they want to slam in, let's see what they do. I don't remember if they actually want to attack me or Teferi, they attack me. We can't have that, so I'm just going to Swords that one. And at this point, I think the game is over. They will try, of course, they have to, but it's looking pretty good for us. Okay, so they Ghost Vacuum, get back 1 creature. I mean, sure, whatever. Don't really care about that. Okay, so they tap my land, they're going to get back to basics, and I think this is just a situation where I win the game, especially with back to basics. As always, very good for us. We also find our Wrath of the Skies, excellent. And I don't even care at this point if they take back the Monarchy, because purely based on back to basics alone is going to be good enough for me to win the game. And as I said before, I can also take back the Monarchy. Pithing Needle on Teferi is unfortunate, but it's not gonna last because I have Wrath of the Skies. Ghost Quarter, that's okay because I have another Plains. So I'm gonna say okay. So they took back the Monarchy, but I also have Narset, so they can't draw cards extra. So I'm gonna play back to basic first, replay the MTGO. We have Caracas now tapped, so all looking good. Want to slam in, take back the Monarchy, draw some cards. They're going to try the best they can. Here they're going to Maze, meaning they make a Crime. but doesn't do all that much really. Okay, so there we go. The fact that they also use the Maze of Ith means that I can now actually block again with the human token. We have swords now too, so excellent. I'm gonna try and not use it if I don't have to. Drawn the third card, so Tamio flips. But it does have flying, so okay, keeping that in mind. And they're going to try and cast Force of Vigor. That will work, but it doesn't matter at this point because I have Harbinger, so it still shuts down everything. I've seen so many cards, and we draw another Back to Basics, so all good stuff. Just gonna play it, and I think they concede at this point. Maybe not yet. That's fine for me. Keep in mind, I have 16 minutes left on the clock. They have 8, so they have to worry about their time. This is usually what I've been seeing in Paper Magic as well. I often find that in the past, I often didn't play fast enough, but now when I'm playing in paper tournaments, I just start playing fast immediately, right from the start. And I also now notice my opponents right from the beginning if they are not playing fast enough. Because I found that usually, especially if you compare this to Magic Online, even though I'm the control player, I often win on the clock. And that's mainly because I think other people are not used to playing against the clock. And in Paper Magic, you share a clock, so it's very important to be very, very strict with this. Because I often lose in Paper Magic, or draw in Paper Magic, because of my opponents playing slowly, not me. So that's something that I found happens with control decks. We have the Back to Basics, so that's a keep. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Nice. So Yavimaya, Exploration. As you can see, I'm not even going to fight over that. I don't even care. Exploration is fine. If you would just want to dump your hand, and I'm just going to make it so you will just never untap again. So why would I want to counter Exploration? We find Force Negation, that's good. Another one, so don't care. Just spend all your mana, please. So Sphere of Resistance is interesting. I was thinking about countering this, but currently what does my opponent have that I care about right now? Not a whole lot. Now, I can't have them having another one. Because if that would happen, that would mean that I'm not able to cast Back to Basics next turn. I knew that I had Lorien Revealed incoming, so I did want to have the possibility to play the Back to Basics as soon as possible. They will need to do some stuff, they will need to spend mana, and at this point I'm not even going to counter the Life from the Loam because they don't have green, and I was expecting them to use this to tap away my lands, but I knew that I had Back to Basics incoming, and I think we navigated this one really, really well, because the way we set it up was perfectly playing into their game plan, making them make mistakes and playing into what we wanted to do, and I think that worked out perfectly. So at this point, the only thing that I was afraid of was Boseiju, specifically. Like Force of Vigor would not work. There we go, that's the bad boy. So we draw first, then I counter the Force of Vigor. They only have 1 green mana, and I figured, okay, so how am I going to lose this, especially since I have Force Negation now? So if they are able to get back Life from the Loam, I was still going to be able to get rid of everything that they had. And you can see me just going through the motions. Draw, draw, okay. I want to have Wrath so I can get rid of everything that they have. Use plus, and I'm just going to easy peasy lemon squeezy. They have Mox, don't care. I'm just going to Wrath. I don't even care that I've gotten rid of my own clue token because I don't need it. My hand is loaded. So that was a cool game. I think we navigated it really well. Let's go to the next one. If there's one thing I want you to take away from this video is that if you want to play it seriously, just don't watch a movie while you're playing. That's about pretty much it. Okay, we have a land and we have a cantrip and we have good stuff. So we are going to keep. Very, very nice. So we are playing against 80 card Yorion DnT. That's what I was expecting at least. So Ponder, all very good what we are finding here. So I'm going to keep the Force of Will. They're going to get a land, plains, and we have Vial. So Vial is pretty much a card that you never want to see. Now I knew that I had Prismatic Ending, so I'm not going to waste a Force of Will on either Vial if I don't have to. If I can just Prismatic Ending this, because well, if you don't need to do that, just don't. Especially since I also knew that I have the Fairy incoming and they pass now. So if you don't need to use Force of Will, just don't. You need your cards, they are important. And I'm just going to wait for as long as I can to counter the Ether Vial, and now I can just safely Lorien very, very quickly. But what I want to do here is I just want to have the Monarchy and draw cards. If I draw cards each turn, I'm just going to win. So that was quite a crushing defeat, and they were just relying heavily on Ether Vial, which is something that sometimes these decks do. Good morning. So I like Containment Priest, but that's pretty much the only one. It's also because it's a body, so you can surprise block something. I brought in like one Consign to Memory and I won back the basics. That's basically because I took out a couple of bad cards, which is just double Force Negation and an Narset. That's about it. So usually our deck is very well set up to deal with what they're going to try and do. So there's not all that much that you want. So this hand's okay. Nothing more, but I was hoping that they would just rely on a turn 1 Ether Vial, which is something that they do. So very nice, I'm able to just Prismatic Ending that, and I think we just win the game from there. So yeah, what can I say about that? If they want to play the game that way, I'm okay with it. I even use my Meticulous Archive and I want them to Wasteland it. I have so much mana going on that I imagine that since they are relying on the Ether Vial, we should be good. We could do that. Okay, so we find Prismatic Ending really good. They have Thoughtseize. This is why I didn't show them the Tameo, because that's the card that's going to win me the game. So the safest play to put your cards is, the safest placed is on top of your library. Just always do that. If you're pondering, pro tip, best card that you really want to have, put it on top. You're going to draw it next turn and they can't Thoughtseize it. Just something to remember. Okay, Overlord, sure, whatever. It takes time. It's not that good against us because it's slow. And if you want to play the slow game, we are going to win. So drawing a bunch of lands here, that's unfortunate. But, I mean, they are a bit of mana screw here because they didn't get an Ether Vial. So we are good. I also have Wrath of the Skies. So if the game goes long enough, I can even wait until there comes a situation where I'm able to wipe the entire board, including the Overlord. Now, we can't have the bones. That's something that I need to get rid of. So we're going to see this tick down. Narset will find me a removal spell. Whoops, looks like it doesn't. So be it. But we have time. I've drawn a lot of lands now, so I have a lot of mana. I can soon get rid of everything. And by soon I mean I just need to draw one more land and I can just blow up everything. They get Caller Complete. That's unfortunate. You can see me not fetching for a long while because I just want to draw lands. And there we go. Nice. So I'm just going to fetch a couple of times. Get all the basics. And here I'm just going to say boom with everything. And smooth sailing from here. They just concede. Nice. So they were never coming back from this. I was going to play 4 for like X is a million and take over the game. Nice. Last round. Okay, so pretty good stuff here. Again, back to basics. Tameo, Cantrip 4. All good stuff. Tameo is probably the biggest upgrade for this deck in a long, long while. So all very nice. Looks like we are playing against, at this point I thought it was going to be Depths. Probably, I mean, I've seen Mox, I've seen Thespian Stage. So all very, very cool. I really like this Prismatic Ending. So I was debating what I should do. Do I want to get rid of the Mox right now? It's really good if you can just exile the Mox because then they can't do anything anymore. So I just figured that, yeah, let's just do that. Especially since I can next turn, I can just play Back to Basics. And it's probably going to be good enough. As I said, Back to Basics. Always an all-star. They do have the basic Swamp, and surprisingly, they take 4th Alingus. I'm not gonna lie. I was not expecting this. I really expected them to take the Back to Basics. So it did put me a bit on edge, wondering, okay, so what does that mean for me? What do they have in the hand? Do I still want to play the Back to Basics or not? But in the end, I figured that I should definitely just play it whenever I can. But that makes sense if they have the forest that they wouldn't do it here. Okay, let's just slam in. I'm going to draw a bunch of cards with these clue tokens, so my opponent still needs to have everything go right for them to survive. So, okay, let's just draw. I was not afraid of if they had like a random Bowmasters in there. There we have the stage. So what I want to do is I just want them to tap out at a certain point and then just chill. As you can see me doing here is I was drawing first because what I was doing is I wanted to play around the crop rotation into playing the monster. That's something that I was afraid of. So the way I played it, if I hadn't found swords, I would have not attacked because I wouldn't have been able to block the monster with the Tameo. But now that I've drawn the swords, I felt like, okay, it's good enough for me to just now do this. This is a cool one. I had never seen that one before being played in Legacy. Let's just pop it on screen. So Invasion of Ikoria. So when it enters, search for a library or graveyard for a non-human creature with a certain value. And this combos with itself because they actually get the Hex Mage and they can use this to get rid of the counters on the Invasion of Ikoria. and that means they get a big body and 8/8. So that was pretty cool. I had never seen that one before. Now I did have swords, so not that I cared about it all that much, but I think I like the card. So what I wanted to do here is I wanted to make him spend it immediately. Okay, there we go. So they get a big boy, and now I'm just going to swords. Get rid of it. I was fine, you know, doing it like this. Now, they did have crop rotation into Sashiri's step, but again, I was still okay because I had Supreme Verdict, so I'm like, yeah, okay, sure. I'm just going to draw a card here, or get a clue token, then draw a card. I actually just forgot that this had reach, I'm not going to lie. Reading the card explains the card. That was a mistake by me. Should have probably just chilled, but it doesn't really matter. Drawing an extra card is fine too. I was going to rely on the Supreme Verdict anyway. Okay, so they get a Bowmasters here. That was an interesting choice because it walks straight into my Supreme Verdict. Then again, it does make sense. I mean, they already have like a big body, so I can see why they would do this. But I was very happy because, well, Back to Basics is on the battlefield, so I can heavily abuse what they were trying to do. Reclaim is going to get Prismatic Ending, so that's okay. So I'm just going to draw. Still have 3 clue tokens, so I felt very favored here. Just going to play the MTGO. I'm just going to ponder, digging for swords. I'm going to take the Brainstorm here. They do have Dark Depth, so that's scary. So I need to be aware of them being able to actually make the monster. So you can see me here not attacking with MTGO. They're going to copy this. And the idea here is what I want to do is I want to just not die. That's basically it. I can draw 3 cards from this clue token, and if any of them is also a land, I can bring back the swords that's into the graveyard that I have with the Mystic Sanctuary. So I felt fine. We should be able to just be able to control the game here, and especially now that they've used the Thespian stage, I felt very, very safe. A lot needs to go wrong here for me. There we have the Yorion. I'm able to get the swords that I was talking about, so I'm going to say yes. Excellent. Brainstorm, take the swords. Here they besiege you, which I thought was cool, so I'm going to draw in response, because what they wanted to do is really smart by them, is they wanted to besiege you, so that shuffles the library, and I just put swords on top. So we picked that up, of course, and we draw a card first, because I put the swords on top, draw with a clue first, so I get the swords in hand, and then it all just happens. So, yeah, really cool interaction here. We do find another Back to Basics, so I'm like, yep, that's everything I wanted. Opponent has 2 cards in hand, and I have full control now, so I was not afraid. Okay, I'm just going to play the Back to Basics. There we go. Just chill. I can hardcast these forces, so I'm okay. Bowmasters. I was even thinking, should I worry? Probably not. I have Wrath of the Sky, so I'm going to cleanly get rid of everything. And I'm not going to be an idiot like I was last time. And I'm not going to blow up my Back to Basics. That's a good plan, I think. Okay, so they slam in. Sure. Gonna play a land. So many lands here at this point. Just gonna get a mountain. So I'm going to tap all of my lands here. Gonna say X is 2. I was expecting Invasion of Ikoria to go away as well, but it's a Battle and Siege. In my head it was an enchantment, but it's not. It's a new type, which is Battle. Something to be aware of. Okay, so we have another force. At this point, I'm like, I don't think I can lose this game. I just need to win. That's the idea. So another force, just pass. Okay. They will have a lot more bad top decks than I have, because I haven't had that many bangers just yet. Any Planeswalker would be good. Of course, 4th Illingus would be amazing. Would be curious to see if they would use the Wasteland. But they don't. Narset. Okay, that's a win condition, so I'm going to play it. I'm going to find, in this case, a Swords. I was debating whether I should take the Yorion Revealed or not, but I can have another another look with the Narset, so I'm like, yeah, okay, that's fine. Don't care about Reclaimer. I have more than enough removal here. I'm going to Swords it. Oh yeah, I'm going to pause the game here. Why would I Swords at this point? What I wanted them to not be able to do is Legolas, as we saw them do. I wanted to first Swords, right? And then if they had used Legolas, in my turn, I could Prismatic Ending. What I didn't want to happen is in my turn use Prismatic Ending, because then in their turn, if I Swords, they can still activate the Reclaimer. So I thought it was a really nice pickup, knowing that we had to play around Legolas. Using Swords first, they did have the Legolas, and then in my turn, I can safely use Ending without them ever having the option to do anything with the Reclaimer. I thought that was really interesting to let you know, and I'm sure that not a lot of people would have played around that card, but of course I come from Infect, so I'm very aware of Legolas, and we win the game at this spot. So I'm just going to 4th. X is 5, so I'm going to kill them really quickly, and we're not going to lose from here. Okay, so slam in. Okay, we get to Monarchy, draw to Fairy, really good. They just pass. I'm just going to play to Fairy, and they concede, as they should. Next one. I mean, this hand's good, but you need mana to actually win, so it's a mulligan. This hand's okay. Nothing more. It's really not that great against depths, but I wasn't going to mulligan to 5, so I reluctantly I'm going to keep. But I figured, depending on their start, I will not have a good shot at the game. Okay, we do have Tameo into Brainstorm, that's always lovely, but they have a very aggressive start here. Reclaimer, Hexmage, so I'm like, I'm going to try, okay, going to slam in here. Just they will not block, of course. Then I'm going to Brainstorm, see what's up. Really want to dig for some removal spells. Okay, not too shabby, not unhappy here. I'm just going to play the fetch land, just going to plus. Let's get the planes, get rid of the Reclaimer. I just want them to not have the monster at this point, right? So they already had a Hexmage, but they just had depths in hand. So I'm like, yeah, I think that's game, but I need to try, right? Okay, so we're going to slam in. And I need to draw exactly swords, which we do not. I do have Tameo. I can block. It's something. It's something. It buys me a turn. I decide to Wrath of the Skies here because the Reclaimer has Summoning Sickness. I thought it was very interesting that they would Vampire Hexmage on my Tameo and not on their own Dark Depths. So I actually thought, okay, this is going to give me a window to steal the game away from them, because if they had just made the monster, I would have died. So interesting choice. Now they do have a lot of follow-ups, and it was just too much. I just couldn't compete. I mean, I'm trying, but it wasn't easy. Okay, you can see me here at this point not attacking with Tameo. The idea was I was expecting them to use the Hexmage on their own depths, so I could then block and then Brainstorm, but they don't do that. They are really not interested in making their own Dark Depths into a monster, which I thought was very interesting. Okay, so of course I'm going to Brainstorm. They will use the Caracas, but okay, so be it. Nice, not bad what I have here. So they have 0 cards in hand, so I'm not unhappy. I'm going to Prismatic Ending the monster first, of course. Nice. So I'm like, cool. We can stabilize. I think they kind of, you know, this is on themselves. You know, they should have definitely made a Merit Lage token a lot sooner than they did here. At least that's my opinion, because I think I'm getting close to stabilizing. I'm going to 4th here. I just want to make a Human Knight token. I'm going to slam in. I'm going to get the Monarchy, and I want to win through this. Draw more cards than them. If they do make a token here, I'm able to block with Tameo. So I felt, cool, we have things under full control. Nice, they just passed through the turn. Okay, I'm just going to slam in here. We're going to do this with both of these. And looking back on this, I'm not sure if this was correct. I should have probably just kept back the Tameo. So I'm going to draw a card here. We have the Harbinger, going to draw another one with the Monarchy. Tameo is going to flip. They're going to bounce it with the Caracas. And here they're going to Crop Rotation, Thespian Stage, and they're going to make a monster. My mistake. I should have not attacked here with Tameo. The thing is, of course, they had Caracas. So the idea was I'm going to attack, because if they wanted to do so, they could have just bounced the Tameo anyway with Caracas. That's why I wanted to attack. Small deal, I don't know, maybe it was correct what I did. The idea was to find swords. Yeah. I mean, if it's a good player, they just bounce with Caracas and it was the same outcome, so maybe this was correct. I don't think I've discussed sideboarding yet, but it's easy. You bring in your land hate and you take out force negations and 1 Wrath of the Skies. That's it. Matchup's relatively good. You have to be a bit unlucky here if you want to lose. Generally, it's very, very favored for us. So this hand, it has back to basics, and you're on the play. So need I say more? Especially when you have Tameo, it just generates so much card advantage so quickly that I really never want to get rid of a hand like this. We draw Brainstorm here too. Perfect, perfect. Well, removal was maybe even better, but I can't complain about this. Brainstorm is a really good pickup. That also means that next turn I can, if I need to, Wrath of the Skies. But this is perfect brainstorm, because I find removal and a force will. So get rid of the Reclaimer. Hope that they tap out here with 2 duels, which is something that they do. I don't even care about them using Abrupt Decay here on the Tameo. I'm just going to slam down that back to basics. And I think at this point I've already won the game. They're going to Mortuary. Sure, put Thoughtseize away. Don't care. Another back to basics. I'm just going to brainstorm first, see what's up. Harbinger is really good. I don't even need to have my removal spells anymore at this point. They are never coming back from this. And I'm not exaggerating. I am never losing this game. Okay, let's slam in. We draw Narset as well, so I'm going to play that. Hope to find removal spells so I can get rid of this Dryad Arbor. We don't find it, but okay, they actually decide to attack with the Dryad Arbor, so it is not going to untap. Thought that was an interesting choice. So I'm just going to spin the wheels here, looking for win conditions. I want to win as soon as possible, so I'm going to get the Tameo. Have another one. Okay, so their hands are useless. Going to brainstorm. Going to put these things back, and I also have the 4th Elingus and double Force Will back up. So this game was over as soon as I resolved the back to basics, really. But I also have the ultimate at the ready for Tameo now. I'm just going to slam in with Harbinger. Okay, they just pass. I'm going to ultimate, and kudos to them because they are not conceding, but they are not going to do anything ever again, and they concede now. Nice. We saw this league how good Back to Basics is. If you've been watching my content for a while now, you know how much I actually love Back to Basics. The card is freaking nuts. And I think it's one of the main reasons why Jeskai has always been good. And even now, at a time where Back to Basics is not terribly exciting with all the frog decks, I think the card is just never bad. Okay, that was the last 5 that I wanted to record. I'm not certain when or what kind of video I will record next. Next, I'm going to go to Eternal Weekend Europe soon. When I'm recording this, it's like 7 days away, 8 days away. I will soon be there, very excited. This will probably be my list. I've actually played an Infect League today, and it went quite well. It went 4-1, and I really like my new build, so I may just record that one next. I could also record a modern video soon again. I'm not sure. The world is my oyster, as they say. But thanks for watching. If you like this, don't forget to subscribe, and feel free to comment on the video, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.